Hey there, I'm Valentina, and I've been thinking a lot about life lately. I'm big on being independent, thanks to my amazing dad who raised me that way. But things got a bit complicated recently when I had some issues with my not-so-friendly mother-in-law. Let me tell you how my husband Alan and I met. We were interns at the same marketing job when I was 24. We became good friends, and as you can guess, spending more time together made us fall deeply in love. So when we found out we were expecting a baby last year, we couldn't resist getting married. Some might think it was just because of the baby, but we genuinely wanted to make it official. It was a special moment, and the only person who knew beforehand was my best friend, Kara. When we told our parents, the reactions were different. My family isn't your typical Hispanic family. My father started with very little but built a successful company despite facing challenges as a person of color. He always encouraged my mom and me to break stereotypes and chase our dreams. Because of our unique background, my parents were totally fine with us eloping and getting married. They were genuinely happy for us, and when we shared the baby news, they were overjoyed. However, Alan's parents didn't seem as thrilled. They weren't as engaged or excited about our marriage like my parents were. A week after we shared the news, my parents came over to our apartment for dinner, bringing their blessings and excitement. We invited Alan's parents too, but they didn't show up. Fast forward to my second trimester, and Alan's parents finally decided to visit us while they were in town for a friend's wedding. We all had dinner together at our place, but it was awkward. I was really looking forward to getting to know them better since we're family now, right? During dinner, Alan's dad kept asking questions about my dad's company, which made me uncomfortable. Alan's mom, Elaine, seemed especially focused on me, and it was clear she wasn't on my side. She made sarcastic comments that made me realize winning her over wouldn't be easy. But I knew I had to try for Alan's sake, because family means everything to him. The dinner was a disaster, and Elaine made it clear she wasn't happy. But I did my best for Alan, even though it was tough. Life went on, and Alan stayed busy with his marketing job, but dealing with his parents, especially Elaine, wasn't easy. While I was taking time off due to my pregnancy, we were about midway through the third trimester when my best friend Kara suggested it was time for a baby shower. We loved the idea. Being someone who loves to go all out, I wanted it to be the most amazing baby shower ever. We decided to invite all our friends and, of course, both of our families who hadn't met each other yet. It seemed like the perfect chance to bring everyone together. Kara, who's great at event planning, found us a beautiful, spacious botanical garden venue since our apartment couldn't fit so many people. About a week before the big day, we sent out invitations to all our friends and family, and both of our families confirmed they'd be there to celebrate with us. Both sets of parents arrived in town the day before the baby shower, and I had an idea. I suggested that we take them out to dinner to get to know each other in a more private setting before the big event. I thought it would be a great way to help everyone feel more comfortable before the baby shower. But little did I know, this plan would completely dampen my mood for the upcoming celebration. We made dinner reservations, and my mom was the first to arrive. I'd asked her where Dad was, and she said he got caught up with something important. As we were catching up at the table, Alan's parents joined us. My mother-in-law greeted my mom with a cold smile, and you could feel the tension in the air. Then my mom got up and shook hands with my father-in-law. "It's nice to meet you, Mariana." "Ah, nice to meet you." "Oh, we once hired a maid for our house who had the same last name as you," my mother-in-law said. We all just looked at each other, thinking, did she really just say that? "Oh, really? That's an interesting coincidence. Anyway, let's order some drinks," my mom replied, trying to move on. "That's a great idea. Also, why isn't your dad here, Valentina?" Elaine asked, and just like that, her comment got swept under the rug. To be honest, I was fuming inside. How could she make such a thoughtless comment to my mom? It really got under my skin. I couldn't understand why Elaine would say something so hurtful and insulting, not just to me, but especially to my family. I tried to put myself in Elaine's shoes, wondering if maybe she had some reservations about me because Alan and I eloped without informing her. Maybe that was why she wasn't accepting of our relationship. But even then, that didn't excuse her rude behavior toward my mom. I felt terrible for my mom. I couldn't believe she had to sit through dinner with that hurtful comment hanging over her. It's one thing if Elaine didn't like me, but my mom didn't deserve any of that negativity. I tried my best to shift my focus away from the awkward encounter. The rest of the dinner was just small talk between the parents while Alan and I continued to chat about the baby and our excitement for the future. After dinner, when it was time for our parents to leave, I walked my mom out. While Alan was seeing his parents off, I felt the need to apologize to my mom for Elaine's behavior. "Mom, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry about what Elaine said. She hasn't exactly warmed up to me yet, but I'm hoping she'll come around eventually. It's okay, Maija. You're a wonderful girl, and I know you'll win her over in time. Your dad and I will see you tomorrow. Get home safe. Bye, Valentina." "Bye, love you. Tell Dad his presence was missed." The car ride home was just as awkward as the dinner. I was really hoping Alan would say something about his mom's behavior or at least explain it, but he didn't bring it up, and I was surprised. I decided not to confront him at that moment because I didn't want to ruin the baby shower. I figured I'd talk to him about it after the event, hoping we could sort things out then. So we got home, tried to sleep off the tension, and woke up to the big day, the baby shower. We reached the venue around noon, and Kara was already there, busy setting everything up with the workers. She was doing an amazing job, and the place looked incredible with balloons, confetti, flowers, decorations, glitter, and sparkles everywhere. Guests started arriving at 2, and Alan and I were on hosting duty, trying to make everyone feel welcome. But just as my parents showed up, Alan's parents walked in too, and I wasn't sure how to feel after the drama from the night before. I was still upset with Alan, but I kept my cool for the moment. Then, to my surprise, Elaine decided to break the ice. "Hello, Mariana. Hello, Manuel. Hey, it's nice to see you again. You know, I've been thinking about what happened yesterday, and I just wanted to say I'm sorry for my behavior. It was totally uncalled for. No worries, it's nothing we can't move past. Let's just move forward and enjoy today, okay? This is my husband, Manuel. Manuel, meet Elaine. It's nice to finally meet you in person, Manuel," Elaine said. "Likewise, Elaine. And oh, Mr. Herrera, this is my husband, William. Actually, William knows all about your company. Back in the day, you were quite the talk when you were up and coming. Nice, I know your husband too." "The world is so small," my dad responded. "Ah, what? You know my husband, William? Have you guys met before?" Elaine asked, surprised. What just happened? It turns out that not only was Elaine caught off guard, but all of us were totally shocked to find out that William and my dad already knew each other. "You've got to be kidding, right? How do you know him?" I asked. "Well, he works with me." "Wait, hold on, none of us knew this. Dad, you have some explaining to do. Fill us in, please." "He manages my $50 million portfolio," my dad admitted. "What about that job with Christopher? Weren't you managing for him, William?" Elaine questioned. "Couldn't we just talk about this when we get home?" William replied. "Dad, why didn't you tell us about this before? You've been keeping this a secret from us?" I asked, still trying to understand what was going on. "Yeah, how did this even start?" Alan added. "It's not like that. It just never came up. Let's not make a big deal of it, okay? You have guests waiting," my dad said, trying to move on. Wow, what a whirlwind of a day it had been. The revelation that William and my dad knew each other took us all by surprise, and it just got swept under the rug during the baby shower. But honestly, I couldn't stop thinking about it. My father-in-law had been working for my dad. Why didn't William mention it last night when Alan brought up my dad at dinner? And did my dad already know him before hiring him? So many questions were swirling in my head. Despite the lingering mystery, the baby shower went well, but that topic was like an elephant in the room. Alan and I could no longer ignore it. He even told me that we needed to talk about it because he had no idea either. After the party wrapped up and we got home, we both decided to make those calls, individually of course. Alan called his dad and I called mine. We retreated to separate rooms and made our respective calls to our family members. We agreed that after talking, we compare notes and figure out the truth. "Hey, Dad. Maija, you should be resting. Today was a long day and the baby's due soon." "I know, Dad, but I just wanted to talk to you about something first. How long has my father-in-law been working for you?" "For about a month now. I didn't realize he was your father-in-law when I hired him. It was just a coincidence. I mean, how could I possibly know? He had just been fired by his management team. and I gave the poor guy a chance. He knew all about you though. A couple of months ago, when I met him and Elaine for the first time, he couldn't stop praising you and your company. It's just strange that he never mentioned me to you, don't you think? I asked, still puzzled. You know, people have their own ways of doing things, and sometimes they keep certain things to themselves. Maybe he had his reasons, my dad replied, trying to ease my concerns. I guess so, but it's still a bit odd. Get some rest and take care of yourself, Maija. Don't let this stuff keep you up at night. Good night. Okay, good night, Dad. I finished my call with my dad and was making my way to Alan's room to fill him in when I overheard him on the phone. He sounded pretty upset, so I tried to eavesdrop. Okay, Mom, what if Dad works for Valentina's dad? You're so obsessed with what people think, and you don't have to act superior all the time. Maybe that's why Dad kept this from you. He knew you'd make his life hell if you found out. I tried to let go of that Mariana incident, but you really went overboard, Mom. Insulting people won't make you better than them. I love Valentina, and I won't defend you again on this. Just get over it and accept her. Maybe apologize to her. Yeah, okay, bye. Once Alan was done, I played it cool, pretending I didn't hear a thing. We exchanged stories about our conversations with our respective parents, and I was completely honest, as was Alan. He addressed his dad's job situation. His dad had been in a tough spot, going through a rough patch after getting fired. William lucked out and got selected for my dad's job that he had posted about. He didn't mention it to Elaine and the rest of the family, knowing she'd flip out. She wouldn't want William working for Manuel, because she wouldn't want her family to be in any way dependent on her son's wife's family. Her ego got in the way. I have to say that I admire Alan's dedication to making things work between us and his mom. He meant the world to me and wanted her to rethink her stance and apologize for her problematic comments. Despite her past antics, I was willing to give her another shot for Alan's sake. He said she just needed some time. A whole month passed, and the baby was ready to make her grand entrance. Luckily, Alan was there when my water broke, and he rushed me to the hospital. We were blessed with a little girl, and we named her Catalina. She was just the cutest when I first saw her. Once we got home, our friends couldn't wait to meet our little baby girl. My parents caught a flight the very next day. Kara was all pumped up because now she had a niece to play dress-up with. Alan reached out to his mom and shared the news of our daughter's arrival. Even after weeks of not speaking to her, she didn't visit us for a whole week. But then, out of the blue, she called Alan and asked if she could make arrangements for my parents to visit, so she could apologize and start anew with our family. I called my folks and asked if they could drop by for a day, and they were totally up for it. We were over the moon, feeling super strong as a couple and soaking up all the happiness. The big day finally arrived, and Alan and I prepared some mouth-watering dishes to celebrate with everyone. Catalina was the star of the show, bringing our families together. Soon enough, everyone had gathered. My mom surprised me with the sweetest gift, a matching baby blanket and a pastel pink mummy scarf made out of soft wool that she had knitted herself. It was so thoughtful, and I cherished it dearly, keeping it safe in my room. As we all settled in, Alan's dad took the lead and apologized for not informing my dad earlier that he was my father-in-law. It was a good step to break the ice, and from there, everyone started mingling and getting along. My mom and Elaine even cleared the air, and it seemed like they were bonding over how adorable Catalina was and how she had gotten my eyes and Alan's nose. But in the middle of it all, I noticed Elaine was missing. I went to look for her and found her in my room. Elaine was soaking the scarf my mom made in her glass of fine wine, and to make matters worse, she poured the remaining wine all over the blanket. I could not believe the audacity of this woman. Without thinking, I snatched the wet scarf from Elaine's hands and stormed back into the living room where everyone was seated. All eyes were on me, and Elaine followed me out. Okay, that's it, Elaine. You've been driving me nuts since day one, insulting my parents, acting all high and mighty, and now ruining this sweet gift from my mom. You've been nothing but bitter, and you've treated me like trash. What the hell, Mom? What did you do now? Alan interjected. She ruined the present my mom got us. How immature is this? Why are you doing this? Being this petty isn't making you look good, you know. I've given you way too many chances. I've seriously given it so many tries to let go of the past and move on, but it's like you're stuck in your ways, huh? I've been putting in the effort to build a connection with you because I genuinely care about your son. I've put up with all the nonsense, but it's like you're not even willing to hear me out. You're just so set on trying to hurt me. I think it would be better if you just left and stayed away from my family. Alan, please, honey. You're my child, and yet you're the one who's acting like a child. We've tried to give you a chance to make things right, but you keep pushing it. I won't tolerate this behavior anymore. Dad, can you take Mom home? Elaine, maybe it's best if we go home now, William chimed in. Let me tell you, it was like a drama straight out of a reality show. When Alan put his foot down and asked his mom to leave, the whole room went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Elaine's face turned white as a ghost, and she started bawling like a baby. It was like a soap opera unfolding right before our eyes. I have to admit, seeing the look on Elaine's face after her son asked her to leave was pretty satisfying. As she walked out with tears in her eyes, I couldn't help but feel a little vindicated, and it felt pretty darn good. I always believe in treating people with kindness and respect, but sometimes some folks just need to learn their lesson the hard way. Alan was very apologetic to my parents, and honestly, they deserved it. Even my dad told me that the next day my father-in-law reached out to him at work and apologized for his wife's behavior. But hey, we're done with all that nonsense now. We've cut off Elaine from our lives, and good riddance, I say. Ain't nobody got time for that negativity when we've got our adorable little Catalina in the picture. Alan was a bit down about his mom, but he's doing what's best for our little family, and honestly, she's been trying to reach out through William, but it's all just a show. I ain't falling for that act again. What goes around comes around, folks.